Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Yes, last episode I believe we covered Kin and Mills All, and since we talked about it in that episode, let's cover the Hellplague sword, which is by far, I feel like, a superior version to the Kin and Mills All for a paladin. This is a very interesting long sword. It's a relatively low-level sword, and it also has some really interesting effects, and it's useful on more than just paladins. So let's go over it together, shall we? So first off, we have 5 to 34 one-handed damage. We also have 39 dex and 55 strength requirement with a level requirement of only level 22, which is actually pretty darn good. This sword is really well placed and really well itemized, in my opinion. And as we go over it, you'll kind of see why. It's very fast attack speed because it is a long sword, and I believe it's I want to say it's a -10. It's been a little while since I looked it up, but the long sword, I believe, is one of the faster ones. Yes, it is -10, which I just wanted to make sure of that because I don't want to tell you guys the wrong thing. It doesn't have any increased attack speed on it, though, which is kind of unfortunate, and it's not really something that I could do much about. We also have +2 to fire skills on here, which is rather universal and will give bonuses to any fire skill in the game. Can be useful to fire sorceresses, can be useful to holy fire paladins. Fire skills will also work on corpse explosion, believe it or not, on the necromancer. Well, we also have 80% enhanced damage on this, which actually does vary only by 10%, which is relatively low. And it's the only variable on this sword, so if you find a 80% Hellplague, you found a perfect Hellplague. We also have 25 to 75 fire damage on this, which is actually pretty massive, especially considering that Kin and Mills All only had 40 fire damage on it. So this is a one-handed sword, which has more fire damage on it than Kin and Mills All, and honestly has even better effects. We have 28 to 56 poison damage on this thing as well, over 6 seconds, which in normal difficulty will actually be very nice. It's not until Nightmare and Hell difficulty that you start to get kind of diminished poison damage on most targets, and then all the resistances come in and everything. And then we also get dual leech on this thing as well. So as if all the other effects on this thing weren't good enough, we also get 5% mana and 5% lifesteal, which can be extremely useful for specific characters like a Holy Fire Paladin, or for instance a Fireclaw Druid, or any other number of very interesting options. We also have the ethereal version, which is 7 to 50 damage, 29 dexterity, 45 strength, and level 22. Now, the ethereal version could be utilized very nicely on either a Act 5 Frenzy Barbarian, or also the Act 3 Enchant Merc, the fire mage, because obviously he would get the +2 fire skills. It'd be a very easy way for you to get him +2 skills early on, and since all of his skills are fire skills, would certainly come in handy for him. Now, of course, you can upgrade the Hellplague to the exceptional version, and the exceptional version is actually a pretty good upgrade. The only real downside of upgrading a longsword is the higher requirements, and I have actually noticed this myself, is that a lot of the swords tend to have some pretty crazy requirements, especially in the exceptional and the elite versions, and you do need to be careful if you're going to upgrade this, just simply because of those requirements. Let me move myself out of the way so we can get a good upgrade on this. And this is going to go from 5 to 34 damage, 39 dex, 55 strength, level 22, to 18 to 75 damage, 79 dex, 103 strength, and level 30. As you notice, the level didn't go up so bad. In fact, 22 to 30 is actually not bad at all, and for a upgrade, it's actually excellent. However, the dex went up from 39 to 79, and the strength went up from 55 to 103, and that is a massive amount of strength and dex requirement for level 30. You may have trouble hitting those numbers at level 30 without sacrificing a large amount of vitality in the process. The ethereal version can also be upgraded, of course, from 7 to 50, 29 dex, 45 strength, level 22, to 27 to 113, 69 dex, 93 strength, level 30. Now, this upgrade from normal to nightmare difficulty is actually a really good upgrade in terms of damage and level requirement, but the strength and dex requirements are kind of off the chain, and it might turn this into one of those items that you don't really want to upgrade. We do have the ability to upgrade this, though, into its elite form. Now, I don't think that it's going to upgrade very well into the elite form, and the reason why is because the enhanced damage is actually relatively low. If you all have never postulated what it is that causes an item to be a good upgrade or a bad upgrade, a lot of the times when it comes to weapons, it's just simply the fact that they don't have a lot of enhanced damage. Good items at elite tier that have really nice enhanced damage are like 200 to 300, sometimes even 400% enhanced damage. But 80% is relatively nothing in the grand scheme of things. And so as the weapon is upgraded, it scales off relatively badly. Same thing with the fire damage. The 25 to 75 fire damage, while pretty good at level 22, when you put this sword on, as it goes up in level, becomes less and less amazing, right? So let's go ahead and upgrade this to its elite tier. And to do that, we're going to need a Pull, a Lum, and a Perfect Emerald. And that's going to go from 18 to 75 at 79 dex, 103 at level 30, to a Cryptic Sword of 9 to 138, 109 dex, 99 strength, and level 73. Not exactly a good upgrade at all there. We also have the Elite, or the Ethereal version, which is also going to be upgraded to the Elite version, which is 27 to 113, 69 dex, 93 strength, level 30. And that upgrades to 12 to 207, 99 dex, 89 strength, level 73. As you can see, a pretty nice upgrade to Tier 2 if you have the requirements, but a pretty poor upgrade to Tier 3 if you don't. All in all, because of the +2 fire skills on this, it's actually utilized by characters that might not necessarily want to upgrade it at all, because they're probably not swinging it. They're probably just using it to, you know, to boost their fire skills. +2 fire skills really early on is actually excellent. Can help out a myriad of characters. Like I said, you could put it on a fire sorceress, you could put it on a fire claws druid, you could put it on a fire elemental druid, you could put it on a holy fire paladin. You know, there are definitely quite a few options for the Hellplague, and I probably would never upgrade it to the Cryptic Sword. As for the Rune Sword, only if you can hit the requirements. Let's take a look on Silo's Pen real quick, and let's see where we could potentially find this item if we wanted to, you know, grab it. Where do we look for it, right? So, Cannibals All was the last one we did, and now we're going to have to look up the Hellplague. Alright, and same thing, because this one is a relatively low-level sword, we're going to assume about 100% magic find, which I feel is fair. Let's do bosses first. And ignoring the quest flags, it looks again like we have normal Diablo. So just like the Cannibals All, normal Diablo can drop this at 1 in 215 with relatively low magic find. And it's probably going to be your best bet, because that's about the right level you're going to be when you get to normal Diablo. Super Uniques is probably going to be much the same. I'm assuming that, yep, Cow King and Nightmare Cow King, which is a terrible spot to farm for it, by the way. And then, of course, see, we have Grand Visor of Chaos, Infector of Soulstorm Decease in normal difficulty. And then on top of that, we also have Shank, Eldritch the Rectifier, Doc Farron, Pindleskin, Frozenstein, Thrush Socket. All very good choices for farming this item on level. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my video. I know this one isn't a 22-minute video on Cannibals All, but when you talk about a sword that's bad, more often than not, you want to postulate on how to make it better, right? But when you talk about a sword that's good, there's really not a lot to talk about, you know? Hellplague is a good sword. On level, when you find it, it is very useful for paladins, it's very useful for barbarians, it's very useful for sorceresses. You can even get halfway decent use out of it on a freaking necromancer. Druids can use it, and honestly, I mean, even if you were hard up for items, you could probably even use it on an Amazon or an assassin. The extra fire damage and the dual leech would certainly come in handy. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and keep watching.